So this is the second episode of a three-part series where we're covering print on demand. In this video, I wanted to cover a bunch of mistakes to avoid when starting print on demand. I will also be giving solutions to those problems so that you don't make the same mistakes, or when you do make a mistake, you know how to fix it. A lot of people just don't start. I feel like they're kind of waiting for someone to sort of push them along, or maybe they're sort of overthinking it. But when it comes to print on demand, it's one of the easiest things to get started with. I think a lot of people fall into this trap of thinking that they have to know everything before they get started, or maybe they just don't know enough to get started, when in reality that isn't the case at all. When it comes to all of the businesses, all of the things that I've started in my life, you've got to start somewhere. Like I've got to start somewhere. I've got to start in a position where I really don't know much, but the most important thing is that I will figure it out along the way. When it comes to print on demand, Printful just combines everything into one platform so that you don't really have to worry about it. They have all the sort of steps and processes, all the things in place to get started. It's why I started with Printful back in 2017, 2018, because it was just the easiest platform to get started with. Thanks to Printful for sponsoring this video. With something like Printful, you don't have to worry about finding manufacturers or finding people to sort of handle the products for you. Printful does that all for you, and I think that is the luxury and the benefit of using something like Printful. The platform even has a design maker tool that allows you to start making your own designs with ease. It takes all of the guesswork out and lets you get started with a print on demand business in no time. In my previous video, I showed me starting linksupply.com, so my own print on demand store, which really took me only like half a day to get started, and I'm using Shopify and Printful. Make sure to check that video out if you're interested in sort of seeing the process of starting your own print on demand store. Lesson number 2 is not doing market research. So this is a mistake that I see a lot of people make, where when they start a print on demand store, they kind of just put anything and everything on there, when really you should be either having your own niche, your own sort of style, your own designs, or you should be making products for, maybe if you already have an audience, trying to figure out what your audience will like. But some people, they just put anything and everything and think, oh yeah, I've made a print on demand store and it will start getting sales. Like that just won't happen. When you sort of make anything and everything, I feel like you also fail to sort of identify trends and sort of niches that could actually get you more sales, even though you might see something that's popular, but it might be popular for a certain type of person, for a certain audience. It just might not be popular to most other people. I think one of the best ways to find product ideas is to look at things like Google Trends, TikTok, Instagram, Etsy, places like that, and see what's popular on there. See what maybe you could make with your own spin, with your own style, because that is the best way to sort of have your own niche, your own sort of product that isn't really copying anywhere else. Printful have a blog where they speak about current market trends and other helpful topics. They also have case studies and success stories so that you can gain insight into what niches and product categories are thriving. Printful also has a huge product range which can really help you sort of explore emerging markets and sort of niche opportunities. And they're regularly updating the product portfolio as well. They're always adding new products. They're seeing what people want on the market and they're delivering them. They also have a cost calculator so you can factor in production costs and how much you want to be selling your products for, so that you can sort of just compete when it comes to prices. And they also have real-time shipping rates so that you can keep on top of shipping costs and things like that, because obviously you don't want shipping costs to be drastically eating into your product margin, into your profits. When I started linksupply.com, it was purely just down to the amount of requests I got from my audience. People seeing pictures that I have in the background of videos, that I have in the background of photos and things, and asking, hey, where did you get that picture from? Where did you get that poster from? And a lot of people don't seem to realize that they're actually my own pictures that I've shot. So I thought to myself, hey, this is just an easy way to make money for me. I can put up my own pictures up for sale because people clearly like them. People will hopefully buy them. Lesson number 3, if at first you don't succeed, try again. A lot of people get very quickly discouraged when they start a print on demand store and they see that they're not really getting any sales, they're not really making much money, and they have it up for a few days, maybe a few weeks. They're really trying, maybe even a few months. They're really trying. They're just struggling. Like, it's just not working out. They have this thing in the background. They're doing everything they can to market these products. They're sort of looking at trends. They're trying to find what could be cool, what could people buy. And yeah, it's just not easy. I found the harsh reality is that if your print on demand store isn't doing well, there's 2 things that you're probably missing. First up is that maybe your products just aren't good enough. Maybe your products just aren't designed. Maybe you're not making designs that actually people want. I think this is actually probably one of the biggest, probably one of the main ones, because A lot of people think that they come up with a really cool product and that it's going to do really well, but in reality, that's just not the case. I think a lot of people overestimate their ability to come up with cool designs and whatever else. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't stop trying. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try other designs. I think the main thing is to try lots of different designs to see what sticks, to see what people actually like. And then number 2 is marketing. A lot of people put up a store, but they're not putting any effort into actual marketing. Now, there's only really 2 ways to market something like this. You either use paid marketing or organic marketing. Now, organic marketing is doing things like social media, maybe making YouTube videos, TikToks, Instagram, sort of sharing your products on there. And then paid marketing is, of course, paying to have your products in front of people. Those 2, I'd say, are some of the main ways to market something like this. And if you're not marketing, if you don't have good marketing, you might have the most amazing product, the best designs, but if you don't know how to market them, then how are you going to get any sales? Because no one is seeing those designs. The great thing is, of course, Printful has a wide range of products, so you can experiment with all different designs, with all different items. And the great thing is, it doesn't cost you anything to do that, because the only time you pay is when someone actually orders a product, it goes through Printful's system, and then they make it. That's the only time you pay. So you can try lots of different designs. You can have hundreds of designs and really just see what sticks, and then only keep the ones that actually work and then just get rid of the ones that don't. For me personally, that is what makes Printful so attractive. It's why I use it. I know that I can just have my store up and running at all times, and that it's not costing me any money other than the Shopify subscription. It's not costing me any money to run. The only time I pay Printful is when a customer orders a product. And yeah, it just takes a lot of the cost, a lot of the hassle out for me, knowing that I can just focus on the designs, I can focus on my store and marketing my store, and I can have someone like Printful just manage the rest of it for me. Lesson number 4 is focusing on good design and branding. The best way to come across as professional, to come across as legit, to come across as someone who knows what they're doing is to have good designs and good branding. This sort of is similar to lesson 3, where I mentioned that if you don't have good designs, you're not going to be able to sell anything. And good design doesn't just relate to the products, it also relates to the branding, it also relates to the whole process of your store, how it works and how customers get their products. I think one of the best things about having good design is that it does actually make marketing easier, because if you have a product, if you have products that are designed, that have unique designs that can be popular, it just makes your marketing a lot easier, because if you're sharing it organically on social media, if other people like that design, they're going to share it organically as well with their friends, with their audience, whoever it might be. A good example of this is someone like Poster Lad. So Poster Lad, he just simply makes posters. When you really think about it, that's all he does. But what makes his posters unique is his designs. I have a few posters myself from him, and yeah, his designs are just very unique. They look very cool. Whenever I shared them online, people are always like, hey, where'd you get that poster from? That just looks awesome. And they share it with other people as well, because he has a very unique design style that other people don't really have. And I think that's what he's done really well. He's focused on design quality, on having this branding on his store and with his prints. He has a sort of consistency, and that's what also gives him a sort of premium aesthetic, you could say. When I look at his store, when I look at his designs, I think to myself, oh, this is a proper artist, not just some random person who's sort of trying their luck. Again, a great way to see what's doing well is to look at Printful's case studies and what they have on their blog to see what other stores are doing well. And the great thing is with something like Printful is that you can order samples at a discount, so you can try out different designs on different products, order a sample, see if it looks good, see if it is actually going to sort of give the look and image that you want, because that is one of the best things, right, about physical products. It's actually seeing it in person, actually being able to feel it, have it up on a wall like a poster or something, and seeing that, oh, actually, this looks amazing. Don't spread yourself too thin. One of the most common mistakes that a lot of beginners make is that they're coming up with hundreds of designs rather than focusing on a few select designs that might do well. Coming up with hundreds of designs isn't a problem if maybe you have someone helping you out come up with these designs. But if you're just doing this all yourself, it's just not worth coming up with hundreds of designs and sort of putting them all up for sale. Like I said earlier, like, you can try it to see what works, but I think that's the main thing. You've just got to really try and see what works. But sometimes it can be much better just to focus on a few designs. If you already have design skills, if you already have the design chops, to focus on a few designs and to see what works out of them, and then start making more designs related to the more successful designs. Beginners also fall into the trap of maybe starting multiple stores or trying to cover multiple niches at the same time, which again can actually be very, very difficult. I think it's better just to focus on one store and to focus on one niche if you can. It will just make your life a lot easier, and because you're focusing on that one niche, you're more likely to do research in that niche, you're more likely to learn about that niche, rather than sort of 10 different niches. This also relates to the design aspect I mentioned earlier. If you have lots of different designs that are unrelated from each other on one store, a lot of people will look at that and just think like, what's going on here? There's no sort of consistency, there's no good branding or anything like that. So then less likely to see your store as something serious. Unless, of course, maybe you market your store as a sort of, you know how you have stores out there where they just have a mix of everything, sort of like a bargain basement sort of place sort of thing, a bargain store. If you want to market your store like that, you can, but I don't think that's a good idea, because I think from my experience, when you're starting out, it's better to do fewer products that are higher quality with higher profit margins, and then you can branch out from there. So this is exactly what I did with linksupply.com, hooking up Printful, having it on there. I only have a few products. I'm not looking to sell 100 different photos, 100 different designs. I only want a few prints that I think are the best. These photos I think are my best photos, and it's why I'm selling them on there. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. So unfortunately, with print on demand and the sort of videos that we've seen and blog posts and sort of articles that we've seen online, it unfortunately has this bad reputation of being a get rich quick scheme, and that isn't the case at all. Print on demand, and the best thing about print on demand is that it's something that can just be a slow burner. It's something that you can have running in the background. It's something that can just consistently make you money. I feel like if you want to start a print on demand store and you think you're going to quickly make millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars very, very quickly, that just isn't the case. That only really happens in very, very rare cases. Maybe someone who has a very interesting particular design, maybe someone who has something go viral, but let's be honest, that just doesn't happen to most people. So don't get into this thinking that you're going to make lots of money very, very quickly. I think print on demand is just a great way to make maybe an additional income, maybe to make a side income, or to maybe even make a full-time income if you're able to turn it into that. And the great thing is a service like Printful just removes a lot of the risks. You don't have to worry about having to buy products in bulk. You don't have to worry about the products not being good quality. You can actually see what type of products they have on their store, the quality of the products, the different pricing of the products, and then you can figure out if it's going to be good enough quality for you or not. Printful are known to have high quality products. I don't think they would be where they are if it wasn't, because I think a lot of people would have complained. You also don't have to worry about shipping the products. Printful just handles it all for you. I think shipping is the thing that I feel like, to me, it would just be the worst thing. Like, I don't enjoy having to ship out products and things, but knowing that Printful has dedicated warehouses, has dedicated people who are actually really good at this sort of stuff, that's great, because I know that the products will be shipped properly. I know that they'll be packaged properly. I know that hopefully they'll get to their destination. And from my own experience, when a product hasn't got to a destination, or maybe a product has got there damaged, Printful usually are happy to send out an additional product at no cost to me, as long as obviously you can provide proof that the product is damaged or it didn't arrive or whatever. But yeah, they're more than happy to sort of deal with the whole shipping aspect for you. You can simply focus on designing cool products, managing a website, and marketing your products. If you do things right, Printful can help you run a well-oiled merchandise machine. It's just a great way to make some additional side income or turn it into a fully fledged business. I think the most important thing that I've learned from starting my business is just having belief in myself. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have belief in themselves when it comes to starting something. Maybe they're scared, maybe they don't know where to start, maybe they're scared of failure, maybe they're just worried about what other people will think. And yeah, like, I completely get it, because I've gone through exactly the same stuff, especially when I first started. But it's just important not to get discouraged. I found that the most successful people out there running their own businesses, they get things wrong all the time. They're always coming across problems, things are always going wrong, but the main thing is they're always trying to also figure out a solution, trying to look forward, trying new things, and not really being scared of trying new things. I think that's the most important thing, just having belief in yourself when it comes to starting any sort of business, and especially when it comes to something like a print on demand store. I think a lot of people are put off by the idea that maybe their designs aren't good enough and stuff. And that's completely okay, because let's be honest, your first try at something probably isn't going to be that great. Your first designs aren't going to be that great. But the main thing is that you're actually starting, because once you start, you can always iterate, you can always change, you can always upgrade down the line. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out Printful. Thanks to them for sponsoring this video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe for more.